When someone sets up an estate plan, that deals with when they die and what happens to their assets. Most people give those assets to their children and their grandchildren. So if that's your plan, when you die and you have $300,000 that you want to give to your son, that's great, and he's going to get it, and he's going to spend it however he wants. But then, when your son dies, most probably his wife is going to get that $300,000 or what's left of it. Now, if his wife remarries, and then she dies, her new husband is going to end up with that money, and not your grandchildren. Most people don't like that. So there's a way you can change your estate plan, and instead of giving it to your son outright, you give it to your son in an irrevocable trust. It's like a shoebox. Basically, the money, the brokerage account, the house, whatever it is your son's inheriting from you, goes into that irrevocable trust. Your son is the trustee. He manages that trust and changes the investments however he wants. Now, the fabulous part about this trust is, first of all, if he ever gets a divorce, his wife's not getting a dime of that. If he has a car accident and he's going down the road and he hits a patch of ice and he hits somebody and he gets sued for $200,000, his creditors cannot take the money that's in that trust. If he ends up with bankruptcy because he got laid off work or had serious health issues and can't pay his bills, his creditors and the bankruptcy court cannot take the money that's in that trust. And then when your son dies, the money that remains in that trust is going to go down to the grandchildren. It's not going to go to his wife and her second husband. So that's fabulous, and it continues to be protected for a future generation, your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. But what's the point of having an inheritance if you can't spend it? Well, there's a trapdoor in this trust. The son can take out the money whenever he wants for his health, support, maintenance, and education. Those are just magic words in the legal system that says if he wants to take the money out, he can. Nobody's going to complain about it. But when somebody's knocking on his door saying, give me money from that car wreck, or give me money in this divorce, the money's not available to them, and it continues to be protected for your son and your grandchildren for their future. Normally, this type of trust is funded when someone dies, and you say in your estate plan under a will or a trust, when I die, the money that's going to be inherited by a child is going to go into this irrevocable trust. But I have some clients who want to fund that trust during their lifetime, and that's possible too. I had a client whose daughter was in a terrible divorce, and he was worried that his daughter and his 3 grandchildren were not going to have a place to live. So he bought a nice house for them and placed it in this irrevocable trust. The daughter and the grandkids then lived in a really very nice house, but it was off the table and not available in the divorce proceeding, so the son-in-law could not consider that an asset that he would have a share in. So even though mostly they're funded when someone dies, it is possible if you want to fund it during your lifetime. If you're going to do this, you definitely need the help of an attorney to do that properly. These types of trusts have many names. They're called a legacy trust, a heritage trust, a dynasty trust, an inheritance trust. It really doesn't matter what they're called. The important part is how do they work to protect the assets that you've worked so hard for your future generations in your family. This irrevocable trust is a fabulous estate planning tool, and many of my clients really like to include it as part of their estate plan because it's so powerful in protecting the inheritance that your child receives for their lifetime and makes certain that the monies that you've worked so hard for stay in your family for future generations.